OK, now we must talk about the Chagos Islands. Down to business. Is Labour betraying Britain by giving up this group of islands after more than 200 years of ownership? 0207 7862 2222 is the number. So we're basically going to hand them over. They're in the Indian Ocean. There we are. That's a nice picture. We're handing them to Mauritius after a decades-long dispute. The government said the deal, which includes annual payments to Mauritius, would address the wrongs of the past. Slaves worked on the islands under British rule in the 1800s, and the entire population was forced out relatively recently in the 60s and 70s. That's the thing that really sticks in people's throats.
That's awful. I mean, you know, if you think about the British Empire and imperialism and colonialism, and, you know, we strode around the world sort of, you know, just taking things over, raping, pillaging, whatever, in the name of civilization. And you think all those things that happen, people being displaced or unfair treatment, that was centuries ago. But this has happened in my lifetime, that 2,000 of the Chagos Islanders were just expelled and dumped without any
It does seem
help
really weird. And we'll go into this in detail in the minutes to come, but basically what has happened, Jamila, is over the last quarter century, just since the century began, they've properly fought a case, and it's gone backwards and forwards, but you can see the justice in it.
I don't know about this one. I find this tricky. I think the timing of this seems very odd. I feel like if they're doing it in the name of righting lots of wrongs, as they claim they are, then they would have involved the people from Chagos and the actual islanders. They haven't actually. They just had conversations with the Mauritius government and actually left all of the Chagosians out of the loop. They only found out about it in the news yesterday.
And some of the main... So the deal will be that the US can keep this naval base. We've sort of allowed them to do it via Mauritius. So if your home was underneath the airstrip, you're not going to get your house back.
Right. Yes, but nobody else lived on Diego Garcia, I think, particularly. And all the other islands are uninhabited. And the Chagosians will not be allowed to go to Diego Garcia because that is a secretive US base.
Well, yeah.
So they'll be, you know, if they want to go back, then they're going back to completely deserted, well, tropical islands, but
I heard today on the radio they said that it's British, so they've got British police cars, but because the Americans are in control, the police cars drive on the right. Is that weird?
It's very weird.
It's so weird. Just to say, sorry to interrupt, but this has gone into the Tory leadership campaign, which we're all enjoying. And they've gone mad about it. I haven't seen Kemi Badenoch speaking, but basically the three blokes have said it's weak, shameful and dangerous. Then Nigel Farage has piled in. He's not yet running to be Tory leader, but there's still time, branding it a strategic disaster because, crucially, Nina, they say Mauritius is buddies with China.
Well, Mauritius is not so much buddies with China, is that China has gone around the world for many decades infiltrating various portions of the globe by providing money for projects, the Belt and Road projects, and Africa being the great prize for China. So they're already in East Africa. They've already provided, for instance, money for a sports stadium in Mauritius. I think in East Africa, railway lines.
That's big. Yeah, that's big. I
so
mean, you would be, if someone bought a sports stadium, you would be their ally.
They are allies, and they have invested a lot into Mauritius already. It's also where it's placed. It's within access to the Middle East, within access to China and South Asia, Africa. It's actually really important that we hold that strategic positioning, and just giving it away and actually paying for the privilege of giving it away just seems really bizarre.
Why did we own it in the first place?
It wasn't just Mauritius's before. France had it as well.
France had it, but
everyone's had it.
I think we took it when Napoleon was whistled away.
Yes, but the international community have decreed that we have no right to be there. The United Nations.
There we go. Well, maybe that's well and good.
And the negotiations for this started under the Conservatives.
They did, and they were stopped under the Conservatives under David Cameron. But what the problem with this is why have they done this before Parliament is back, a few days before we could actually debate this in the House of Commons and House of Lords?
I don't know whether, I mean, listen, you're a Conservative, and it's not for me to suggest how your party gets back on the road. I'm not sure that being angry about the Chagos Islands is necessarily the place to start if you're relaunching the Conservative Party.
Potentially, but I don't think that this should be Labour's first priority either.
It's not Labour's first priority, but I think that Labour have been. The British government have been not forced into it, but the negotiations have got to the sort of point where international court has said this has to happen. It has to happen.
I'll show you. So, I mean, I'm making jokes about the Conservatives. Actually, it's important enough to be on the front page of the Mail. Who every single item that will cause Keir Starmer a problem goes on the front page of the Mail at the moment. So they are furious about it. And we'll ask for your thoughts. Are you furious? Has Labour sold us down the river here? Or do you think, no, this is, as Nina says, this is justice for the Chagosians? So give us a call. 0207 862 2222 is the number you need. First, is Labour betraying Britain by giving up a group of islands after more than 200 years of ownership? 0207 862 2222. Now, we've got some technical problems today, so I'm going to try and show you my little explanation of where the Chagos Islands are on my iPad here, where I just had a look for them. So if we just come, that's it, lovely. Okay, we're on the Earth. That's a good place to start. Let's have a look at the Earth then. So we'll just type in here Chagos Islands and see where it takes us. And you could see it's a very, very long way. It's the Chagos Archipelago. Archipelago meaning a group of islands. We'll come to the key one, Diego Garcia, in a moment. But I was trying to look and see how far away it is from us. Let's just go back and see. There's the UK, that pin there. And actually, if you go, it's 5,800 miles to go from one to the other. OK, now focus in on Chagos. Here we go. And let's look for this big island where the military base is. And there it is, Diego Garcia. And if I just spin in here, you'll see that airstrip is the centerpiece of it. But what's weird about it is, like, have a look there. West Island temporarily closed. What the hell is that? You don't close a whole island. And also there's a desperate lack of detail because, of course, it's all military secrets here, is it not? So you can't know. It's classified, as Tom Cruise would say. We don't know really what's on the island, which must be very frustrating if you are a Chagosian who would like to be living there. OK, so we do have this map. Again, this looks suspiciously like it's sort of constructed out of fiction, really, but it's got a map of things on Diego Garcia. And it's things like the gear issue, bike shop and so on. It's all based around military people living there. What we know is that it's military and it's useful. Those are two key things, right? And that's why the Conservative leadership candidates have kicked off here. James Cleverly saying, weak. Labour lied to get into office.
What?
Then we've got Robert Jenrick. It's taken 3 months for Starmer to surrender Britain's strategic interests. This is dangerous. Tom Tugendhat. Shameful retreat. There it is, undermining our security, leaving our allies exposed. And then Farage coming in as well, just up the top here. Giving up the Chagos is a strategic disaster. Our American allies will be furious and Beijing delighted. Now, just quickly before we go, we've got this iPad working. Give us the history. So we were talking about this. We have to go right back. It's going to do this quickly for you, right? Slavery, 1783. Slaves were brought to the island. Now let's look up Napoleon and stick him in there. So then Napoleon was basically deposed. The British took the islands. They're separated from Mauritius. They become the British Indian Ocean Territory. And then if we look up Chagosians, you'll see the modern islanders who've been fighting this case. And let's just have a picture of the modern group of... There we are. That's a lovely picture of them. They fought and fought and fought. And you can have I won't tarry on the details, but you go back to 2000, all the different things they've had to do. The High Court, the House of Lords, the UN, then the Cameron government going in and out with the hokey-cokey, and finally they've got their home back. There we are. That's the old iPad graphic for you. And it explains it all. I mean, goodness gracious me, Jamila, what a story.
It is. It is a story.
And I sort of feel at the end of it, they fought so hard and fought so long, you sort of think, oh, give them back. Well, we're only there for war.
Well, I think the timing of it is odd still. I'm not going to really change my mind on that. I don't know why they've done it now. Also, not all Chagosians feel exactly the same about these islands or wanting to have the sovereignty given to Mauritius. Not all of them consider themselves Mauritian. So I think there is a bit of a discrepancy there. Yeah. Not all Chagosians are the same.
Maybe we'll wait to see what Mauritius are like as the sort of landlord. Kathy's in Cheshire. Was this a big mistake by Labour, Kathy?
Well, just a point. A lot of this depends on how it's done. In 10 years' time, will the ordinary people of Chagos, who were originally cleared out, instead, will international landlords, spivvy gangsters, own the hotels, and billionaire crooks and film stars own the islands, and the actual inhabitants are just, I don't know, like
I love it.
still with nothing.
If I was a film star, I would slightly resent being grouped in with billionaire crooks. But yeah, you raise a good point that in the end, we've got the super rich in the world now, and they do tend to get in quickly, Nina.
Yes, but these islands are completely uninhabited.
Yeah, but they are now.
They're owned by, they're now Mauritian, but they are just small islands.
Yeah.
They're not. It's not like
There's
it's
no plumbing and heating.
Not like the Isle of Wight or something.
Yeah, but the point being what? That you then think we can give them back and it doesn't matter?
No, it does. It does matter. Of course, it matters. But they were never ours to give back, frankly.
No. Well, what about that, Kathy? The Nina's point. The idea that because we stole something, it's ours. Come on.
No, I've not. Well, it's a bit difficult, really. I don't believe in all this crowd-pleasing, chucking money everywhere that the government seems to think will make it popular. It won't. People aren't stupid. But the point is, if anyone's to have it, I would like it to be the original inhabitants who benefit from that, not they find themselves just living in a shack at the end of nowhere with nothing.
Yeah.
And as I say, there are international landlords. They don't even live in the place, and they grab everything. And when you're handing things over, you've got to do it properly, because otherwise those people will benefit from it, and the people that they use to make the point, little poor people want to go back there, they'll end up with nothing.
All right, Kathy, thank you. Shelley in Newcastle, hi.
Hi, I've got a few points, actually. My biggest point was, on an item like this, given away in Ireland, Parliament should have been recalled. He used to bang on to the Tories, we need to recall Parliament at every little important thing. The second thing, the people that live there haven't even been consulted, they were saying.
Yes, I get that, yeah.
And I'd like to know the cost, because we're going to cost each year to rent the bases. We're going to give money each year to the Mauritians and to rebuild. And would Nina like to see Spain give back their islands in Africa as well? They have a couple of islands. We got them islands off the French 200 years ago, if you go back in your history.
Where are the Spanish islands in Africa? We're not talking about Gibraltar here, are we? What are we talking about here? Spanish islands in Africa, where?
Is it Melia or something? They've got a couple of islands. I mean, there's other countries have islands nowhere near them.
Oh, the French have got Réunion.
Yes, they've got Mauritius. Obviously, there are lots of islands that have been populated by colonial countries, by countries that sailed out and landed there and appropriated them.
Yes, the Cook Islands and things. I mean, but Jamila, why don't we think big here? Why don't we just give everything back?
I think that they're trying to crowd please. It doesn't seem very authentic. That there is no reason to give away a strategic military asset when the world is at its most dangerous and it's been in for decades.
We haven't given back a strategic military.
Well, we are. We've given off sovereignty and saying we'll rent it for 99 years and hope that they honour it.
Yeah.
That's really naive.
There's no way that the US would have allowed that to happen, because when it comes down to it, they call the shots, basically, for what we do, and certainly in terms militarily. That's
I'm just that they're not happy about it.
Surely the best argument against giving it back is Hong Kong, where we were given all these guarantees. They're all gone up in smoke. We've terribly let down people in Hong Kong, a lot of people would say. Am I right about that? I mean...
Yeah, Hong Kong has changed a lot.
Yeah, and also we don't know what Mauritius will be doing in 50 years' time. Maybe they'll have people marching.
Have you ever been to Mauritius?
Have I been to it?
Yeah.
No, I've seen their stamps.
Yeah, they're nice stamps, and they had the country of the dodo. That was
I know.
all on the stamps.
I mean, I've always been interested in it.
Yeah. It's a very multicultural, multi-ethnic, religious. It's It's called the Rainbow of Nations.
Okay. Yeah. That's what they always say before there's a civil war, isn't it? But I hope it comes through. Yeah. Maybe they've got the best of intentions. I don't know. I don't know anything. After the break, we're taking more calls from, because you know whether Labour's betraying Britain here by giving up the Chagos Islands. Do you worry that actually, if they give up that, maybe they give up the Falklands? Now, more of your calls on whether Labour are betraying this country by giving up the Chagos Islands, which we've had for more than 200 years, and we're going to have to rent them back, apparently. Ian in North Ayrshire, is this a terrible error?
No, it's a load of nonsense. It's just another story in the Daily Tory Mail. What they're trying to do, the new smallest opposition party in Parliament, is trying to raise a profile. If you ask the ordinary man in the street or lady in the street and ask them to point out where the Chagos Islands, if you did 100%, you would only get probably 2%, and they'd be map readers. Now,
but hang on a minute. The fact that I can't point to where the spark plug in my car doesn't mean I don't drive it. We don't need to know where the Chagos Islands are to appreciate that they are important.
All right, let's go back about 200 years, Jeremy. We stole, while we were a colonial country, we stole these islands.
Well, that's a different argument. Yeah, I mean,
strategically, they were used because, say, 50 years ago, post-war, and maybe slightly more, there was a strategic need for bombers and planes to refuel.
Well, do you not think we might need them again? Have a look, by the way, just because you're saying people don't know where they are. I mean, it is difficult, this. You just basically put, that pin could be anywhere, but that is, so I suppose the nearest big country is Sri Lanka. Mauritius is nearby, but it's not visible on that map. Madagascar, Africa over there, Europe is up here. But you're right, it's 6,000 miles from us, Ian. We're there.
Jeremy, we're forgetting something here.
What?
We're forgetting that before the new opposition party was defeated, they were negotiating and trying to give the islands back to the people.
Good point.
Because the international courts said that we had no longer any...
well, let's put this to Jamila, because Jamila is a Conservative. Hang on, that's a good point. The Conservatives were giving them back.
Hi, Ian. They'd started the conversations, but they were quickly shot down by Lord David Cameron. So, yes, we did start them, but we also did stop them.
OK, Ian, thank you. Henrietta in County Down, how are you?
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning. So what do you think? Should we be giving them back or not?
I don't know. I'm not a politician. I certainly wouldn't presume to hold an opinion or understand the Chagosian native interest. These people who can't go back, etc., etc.
Go on, there must be a but, because otherwise I don't know why you've called. OK, yeah.
The thing that's missing from the discussion, which is shocking, the first year of a Labour government, is conservation. This is the largest marine protected area in the world, according to the websites, and is one of the most important places in the world for coral reefs. Handing it back to the largest fishing nation probably in that part of the seas. Mauritius is a major fishing nation.
Oh, don't.
A major fish processor, major aquaculture processor.
Yeah.
The website I'm looking at points out that that's not going to do native Chagosians any good.
No, OK, that's a very good point, Henry. I was wondering where you were going with that for a minute, but you're right, and we should worry about, a lovely bit of blue ocean with no humans in it, and we've got a massive military base there.
The military base has been there for decades.
Yeah, OK, well then the Mauritians just start fishing. But they would have fished anyway.
They're going to fish anyway. People have to eat.
Yeah, OK, well, yes, OK. Vasu is in Berkshire. Hi, Vasu.
Oh, hi everyone.
What do you think? Are you in favour of giving them back or not?
Absolutely. I am from Mauritius, so I know a bit about the Mauritian history as well. During the fight for election for independence in the late 60s, part and parcel of the process of granting Mauritius independence was for the British government to keep the Chagos Islands. And it's been like that ever since. Mauritians have been trying for years to get their island back. The Chagosian has been trying to return there to no avail. But Labour government is not betraying Britain. they're just doing the right thing.
Yeah, but I thought you said that but when Mauritius became independent, that part of the deal was that Britain could keep Chagos. So in that case...
No. What happened was that there was an aging prime minister at that time who felt the need to leave some kind of legacy.
I see.
So he actually agreed with Britain for them to keep the Chagos, and while retaining Mauritius as an independent country.
Okay, all right. So that deal should not have been made. Thanks, Vasu. One more quickly. Dennis in Kent. Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, Jeremy.
All right.
Panel.
What do you think?
I think it's a bit rich that James Cleverly is saying that the Labour Party have sold out to the Chinese. When he was Foreign Secretary, he was negotiating to give the islands back to the Mauritians as well. And in fact, he wanted to do it by 2023. That's
interesting. I mean, I suppose
hypocrisy.
When you campaign to be Tory leader, you've got to campaign against yourself.
Yeah, but it's sheer hypocrisy, and it's been such an unedifying sight to see the four of them jostling with each other. I'm
enjoying it. Are you enjoying it?
It's been a great contest. I don't know if it's hypocrisy. I think he was taking the lead from the civil service, and I think David Cameron, who then had lots of people kind of give a report on it, said actually this is a really bad strategic idea. So I don't know why 7 months later the Labour Party are now ignoring that guidance.
Also, when I put up the comments, it was Cleverly, Tugendhat, then the other, Jenrick, and then the fourth one was Farage. I was thinking, where's Kemi Badenoch here? Is she not bothered about it? Oh, she said something. Okay. I thought she'd already had. Okay, thanks for your calls on this.